All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alameen wa sallallahu wa sallim wa barak ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Welcome everyone to the Friday night hour from the Islamic City of Toronto. We are live and direct from the Islamic City of Toronto virtually, not obviously not physically. My name is Mamoun Hassan. I'm going to be your host for today, inshallah ta'ala. And before we begin tonight's program, I do want to ask you to do something very quickly for me, inshallah. Go ahead and share our stream with those who are going to be interested, inshallah, in listening to what we have to say here. The Friday night hour, it's a replacement for the actual physical program that we were used to having at the Islamic Institute of Toronto on a weekly basis. And this is going to be an ongoing program, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. We are working on some amazing and some very exciting episodes starting in September, inshallah, really when the season itself is going to start. We have some amazing guest speakers who are going to be coming on and a great team behind this program, inshallah ta'ala. So go ahead, share this stream. We are streaming live on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook channel, and also on our Twitter channel. So on all three all three streams of ours, inshallah ta'ala. All right, so let's begin. And as we start every week, we talk about the Friday khutbah, and what I want to call, we decode the Friday khutbah. And today at the Islamic City of Toronto, we had two different khutbahs. The first one was with Sheikh Ahmed Kuti, and the second one was with Sheikh Musleh Khan. And Sheikh Musleh Khan is the one today, inshallah, to speak to us. Sheikh Ahmed Kuti couldn't make it, but both khutbahs are available on our YouTube channel. Very exciting topics, very timely topics, and very relevant talks, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. So let me go ahead and bring Sheikh Musleh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Sheikh, how are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I'm good, alhamdulillah. How's it going?
Alhamdulillah. Sheikh Musleh, I've said this to you earlier today since I saw you, but it doesn't look like you're wasting any time spending it outside the summer. You have gotten a beautiful golden tan, as I've seen you today. How are you doing this summer, Sheikh?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. And I mean, I'm trying to make the most of what we have, what's available to us, where we can go. And so far, it's just been outdoor in the sun. So I've never been this tanned my entire life. And everybody seems to notice. But alhamdulillah, I'm enjoying it, and I'm trying to get out every single day.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Last week when you were with us on the Friday night hour, you were also outside. Today, you're also outside for a different reason, but you're also outside today.
Yeah.
And I see your young Yusuf with his beauty in the back. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah, he's hiding in the back here. So they're all here with me.
May Allah bless you, inshallah, and give you Jannah. How's your Eid been?
Eid, honestly, it was such a relief. Because the last two Eids, we weren't able to get together. So this Eid, it really felt like a Eid. So all I can say is, alhamdulillah, it was great. And it was everything that I had hoped for, considering the circumstance.
So the last three Eids, this is actually the fourth Eid.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is the first Eid we gather in since almost 4 Eids. So
yeah,
it's been really hard.
Oh yeah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All right, let's talk about your khutbah for today, Sheikh. And while you're speaking about it, inshallah, I'm going to go ahead and drop a link for those of you who haven't watched it. We have it on YouTube on our channel. You titled it, Sheikh Musleh, is "Don't Be Too Hard on Yourself." Let's talk about the title and your motivation behind this khutbah.
So it was sparked by a question I had gotten a few days ago. Somebody emailed me and just kind of mentioned to me how frustrated they were, how much energy they had lost, and thirst for worship. They just lost it all, and everything just felt like a burden to them. It was actually quite a long email. There were a lot of different components to it. So what I did is I decided that I wanted to talk about an underlying issue that leads to people not finding fulfillment in worship. And that is, just being really hard on yourself, being judgmental towards you. So coming to the conclusion that I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, or I can't improve, I can't get the benefits that the great men and women of today or the past could benefit from. I don't experience any of that. And to just kind of give them a bit of hope that, look, it's okay, even if you're not experiencing those things, they are not an incentive for you to give up. And secondly, they shouldn't be a reason for you to pass judgment on yourself. Sometimes the most beautiful things on this planet, you have to go through a grind and you have to go through a lot of dirt and pain to discover them and appreciate them. You know, somebody was just telling me after the khutbah today, is like, he said to me, he's like, your khutbah reminded me of some of the most beautiful jewels and pearls of the world. So gold and silver and everything else, pearls in general. Look where you have to go to find these things. And you know, that's pretty much the sweetness of worship. That's what you have to go through. So I wanted to sort of talk a little bit about that, but more emphasize on the idea of just don't be too hard on yourself.
All right, so that's very good, and I love how inspiring the actual khutbah itself was. So go ahead and take us through a couple of the takeaways, messages for Sheikh.
Really, it was number one, just not to give up. That was the core message, was just don't give up and don't see this as a means of giving up. And secondly, the hardship in and of itself is beautiful, and it is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves from all of us. When we go through hardship and struggle to find our way to Allah, Allah appreciates that more than if somebody was to have, you know, sort of the easy way towards him. Not much struggle, not much effort. If you compare these two scenarios, clearly the one that is filled with struggle is the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the most. Why? Because that person has every reason to give up and they chose not to. So of course you're going to reward them. And you know, an example of this that like from a logical sense is, you know, if you're a teacher and you're teaching a bunch of students in your class, but there's that one student that just no matter what you do, they never get it. And you try all different kinds of methods and they just don't get it. Allah did not create them for that subject you're teaching. But the point is, they show up every day. They keep trying every day. After every test that they failed, they try on the next one and the next one, and they never give up. So that idea and that discipline, that's what I wanted to concentrate on. And the outcome, the nice thing about it is that the outcome is left with Allah anyway. We don't decide it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides that. So it's upon all of us to just keep submitting. And that's what I wanted to concentrate on today.
And that's a beautiful message, Sheikh. You use the example of the hadith of the Prophet when he talks about those who are really good with the Quran and versus those who are that the Quran is difficult for them to recite. The Quran is difficult for them to go ahead. And so go ahead and tell us about that hadith, inshallah, and the implication that you've had really in worships as a whole.
So when scholars took this hadith, and this hadith was very famous hadith, authentic in the Tirmidhi, Prophet ﷺ describes to us that the expert of the Quran is with the noble emissaries or the honorable angels. They reach that status because, again, they've mastered the art of recitation. They've gone through that grind. But the most of us don't reach that level. And so the latter part of the hadith concentrated on two major aspects. The first was yatata'ta, the stutter problem. And the second one is that they just experienced hardship as a whole in all different ways, shapes, and forms when it came to recitation. But the underlying message of that hadith, Imam an-Nawawi and other scholars explained, is that this hadith, there was no indication or no outlet for the person that despite going through those hardships, that they could say to themselves, well, you know what, recitation is not for me. You know what, let me go try something else. The beauty of this hadith was the fact that the Prophet ﷺ ended off and said, وَلَهُ أَجْرًا. For that person struggling, they get double the reward. And, you know, the scholars, they explained that it was a general rule of thumb in all worship. It wasn't just restricted to the Quran, but it was a rule of thumb for everything that we do for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake. As long as you're struggling, but you still keep trying, Allah appreciates the effort and doesn't focus on accomplishments. And that's what the beauty of the hadith was all about. Sorry, I think you're muted there.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go.
That should not be a mistake I make ever.
Yeah.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. It's always inspiring to talk to you, and it's always a pleasure. I know that you're not home, so I don't want to prolong this, inshallah, for you. If there's anything that you just want to add to the end of it, inshallah, here, just before I close, inshallah, with you.
Always the same message, Mamoun, for everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all. Those are the two things that, you know, even if somebody never listened to anything that we've been talking about, at least continue to concentrate on those two areas. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all. Allahumma ameen.
Barakallahu fi. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you Jannah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So that was Sheikh Musleh Khan. He was talking about the reflections on today's khutbah. He was one of our khatibs. I did go ahead and post the actual khutbah itself in our chat. So you can go ahead and watch the khutbah. And there's another one with Sheikh Ahmed Kutti as well. Our second section of today's program, inshallah ta'ala, is with a man who is absolutely he's no stranger from the IIT for sure, but he has played an amazing role in the organization of the Islamic State of Toronto as a whole, really, in a sense. And I guess I want to talk to him today about sorry, I'm just trying to pull him here at the same time. I want to talk to him today about the actual Eid prayer. As you know, and we made this announcement a couple of times already today, actually, we had two Eid prayers. I think each one of them held somewhere around between 1,500 to 1,800 people. We'll get the right numbers from Jay, inshallah, right now. But it was really, really amazing. Like, I've never heard such positive feedback from everybody on that. Everybody was really, really worried about it. The weather cooperated with us. Wallahi alhamdulillah. The technical side of it cooperated with us. Even the parking lot cooperated with us, but that took a lot of organization and a lot of work from the management of the Islamic State of Toronto, and specifically Brother Jay. So I just want to bring him on, inshallah. So Brother Jay Mobeen is the secretary, and so Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Brother Jay, how are you? Oh, you are muted, Brother Jay. I can't hear you. Are you muted? I can't hear you. Can you go and come back again, the same as we did earlier? Let's see if that works. Yeah, I'll wait for you, inshallah. So this is the live when we are doing live streams. Is that we run into technical difficulties and we come back, inshallah ta'ala. At this time, though, I do want to go ahead and ask you all to go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I want you to go ahead and retweet and share our programs. Oh, and you are back. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Jay. How are you?
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. So, Brother Jay, I know I keep referring to your role as the secretary. Is that your official role right now? That is your official role.
Yes, we recently had a new board, and I've been returned as the secretary of the board, having served in this position since 2000, I think. Oh, wow. There were a few years in between when I was not the secretary of the board, but aside from that, I think it has been from 2000. Well, it hasn't been consecutive, but like I said, a few years in between, I was not.
Not only 2000, not too long. So
no, not too long. Not too long.
You got 20 more years, inshallah ta'ala. So, Brother Jay, let's talk about the about the Eid prayer. I know that the numbers that I was just throwing out, they were just numbers that I had. How many people did we have? And while we're actually talking, sorry, Brother Jay, while we're talking, I'm actually going to throw in some pictures as well so we can take a look at what we're doing there. But let's go ahead and tell me about the details, the numbers, kind of give us a report on how the Eid prayer went.
Well, to begin with, I would like to say that you're being very kind and very generous, and the thanks and gratitude is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first and foremost, and secondly, we have a very well organized group, dedicated group of volunteers They are a seasoned cadre of individuals who have been with this organization for the longest while. So it's not necessarily Brother J that actually organizes this or does this on his own. It's all these veterans and the youth among the cadre of volunteers that we have. So I like to make that distinction before I move along. In terms of the numbers, specifically as you ask, we had space for close to 2,000 in attendees. 1,970, I think, spots we marked, but we advertised for 1,800 simply because it's easier to manage that number. Logistically, it would be much easier for our volunteers to and accommodate all of the attendees, the 1,800 on the field. So for the second, interestingly, the second Salah was sold out, if you will. And the first one, there were a few spots remaining. But the irony of it is that it appears that a lot of people showed up for the first Salah. A lot more people than were registered showed up for the first Salah. So there were more people for the first Salah than the first Salah. I think we would have exceeded the 1,800 in the first Salah. And the second Salah, we were close to the 1,800.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of people, alhamdulillah. What were your worries when you were organizing this? Because I know, like, you were at IIT until very late the night before. What were some of your concerns that you were having?
Typically, I leave my worries aside. We have been doing this for a number of years now. One of the things that I always believe in is that you do the best that you can, and you leave the rest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I remember back in 2008 when we first decided that we were going to hold Salah on the lawns. It was in the spring, early spring in 2008 for Ramadan, Eid al-Fitr. And, primarily sisters were worried about being up on the lawn. It would be soft. It would be, geese droppings on the field. We would have a whole bunch of issues. And so the next day when the sisters showed up and it was all covered in white tarp, they were astonished. And, the weather, again, there were forecasts for rain and that sort of thing. But we did the best that we can, and we left the rest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that has been the way that I personally have operated, not worrying about the things that I can't control, and do the best that we can. Now, having said that, again, we have groups of volunteers that were, in charge of security, in charge of parking. We, as I said before, we have been doing this for a number of years. I remember back in the early 80s, we were praying at Lamport Stadium, Markham Fairgrounds, the Metro Convention Center at the Airport Road, CNE, and then Pickering was our big, when we moved to the East End, basically, Pickering was our go-to place. And what we would do is that in the middle of the night, we would go there because and I say the middle of the night because we would have had to depend and rely upon moon sighting, if you will, something that we have gotten away from. And what would happen is that we will go there and organize the lines at 2 o'clock in the morning and get back there for 6 in the morning to do parking. So we have had that experience under our belt, so that makes it easier for us to manage. So that's the short of it, if you will. Mm-hmm. I know I was long-winded.
And it was honestly like really well done, Brother Jay. How satisfied were you with it? I mean, I know hiccups happen in the back, but nobody really knows anything about them, right? Obviously, it's just the organizers themselves are the only ones who actually see any hiccups or see any mistakes or anything like that. How did things go? How did you evaluate things?
Alhamdulillah, from my perspective, I think things went very well. Mm. There are minor things that could always be improved upon, tweaked, and we use these as experiences going forward so that we can offer the community a better experience for next year or the next Eid or so. and we always welcome the feedback of the community. We can never ever get it perfect. We try our best. At the end of the day, if you will, from a marketing perspective, our clientele is the community. And once the community is satisfied or dissatisfied, then we have to make amends.
Okay, wonderful. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Brother Jay, the question is that I actually wanted to have, and I genuinely actually wanted those who are viewing us right now to go ahead and ask questions if they have any questions. But everything I'm hearing here is like positive. Like some people who are saying, "Oh, IIT did a good job for the Eid prayer, very well organized." It's really the notations that I'm actually seeing here from Sister Danweer. Very well organized as well from Shamiza. These pictures, by the way, the ones that I'm actually showing them here, belong to this gentleman from here. So Ash, Jazakallah khair. Really, really, really beautiful pictures that we're actually. So I actually want to give you credit for them. He is our official photographer, Wallahi alhamdulillah, and we couldn't have asked for anything better than that. This was one of the. I think this is the first in almost 4 Eids that we've had where we haven't really had it. So the last 2 Eids, we didn't have any prayer at all. It was just everything was live streamed, everything was controlled. I think the rooms that we were in only allowed for 10 people to be in it, so there wasn't that many number of people. Are you and now everybody had their mask on. I know I'm on the wrong because this is the only picture that has someone without a mask. But everyone had their mask on. All the volunteers were walking around, reminding people to put their masks on. Everybody was super extra polite. We didn't get any feedback from anyone basically saying anything negative. Nobody felt in any way funny. And it was really obvious that safety was something that was really on the back of the mind of everybody else. I want to know what your thoughts were. Like when we were planning on this, did it come in the back of your mind that you're worried that maybe this you don't want this to turn into a super spreader? Did you have any thoughts in the back of your mind that's concerning you?
Certainly. So when we planned for this, that was our main concern, that we did not want this event to turn out to be a catastrophe. We didn't want it to be a super spreader. We wanted to ensure that those who are coming would feel comfortable knowing that the other people, the others, would be wearing masks. So in our marketing, if you will, for our registration, we ensured, and Brother Farhad ensured on the marketing end of it that that message was put out there for the attendees, so that they are fully aware that not only should they be bringing their masks, they should be bringing their own prayer mats, they should be maintaining social physical distancing. And that was the message that we sent out over and over and over. And alhamdulillah, the community, for the most part, I can't even think that there was anybody without a mask. There were people who showed up without masks, and that is absent-mindedness. And they asked us very kindly and politely for a mask, and we obliged. We did what we could, and the community cooperated. That's all we can ask for. When we set up the lines, we ensured that we had the physical distancing done. We staggered our lines in a matrix, if you will. That took some time, and we did it over several days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and so it took a little bit, but we had to do it just to ensure that we did not have the makings of a super spreader, if you will.
Brother Jay, honestly, tremendous work and amazing work. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, reward you for all the work that you've been doing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you Jannah and the highest level of Jannah, inshallah. It's been a really, really good time, alhamdulillah, and I truly appreciate your presence.
Well, thank you kindly, Sheikh Mamoun. But again, I would like to reiterate that it's not me. I'm just one of many individuals. Without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his help and assistance, without the help and assistance of the volunteer cadre, the board, the community, none of this would have been possible.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, inshallah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So that was our brother Jay. He is the secretary of the Islamic Institute of Toronto. I mean, don't listen to his humbleness. Well, listen to his humbleness. As humble as he is, he's done a lot of the work behind a lot of the organizations and all the events that are usually happening at the Islamic School of Toronto. Obviously, it's never a one-man work in any one of these events, but there are some heads that take on a lot of the work, inshallah. This has been the Friday Night Hour at the Islamic School of Toronto. My name is Mamoun Hassan. It was a pleasure hosting you. Before you leave, go ahead, share this video. Go ahead and comment on it, inshallah. I don't know if you know or not, but just commenting on the actual live streams themselves, just commenting on the Twitter feed, on the YouTube, just saying thank you, barakallah fikum, give us some dua, all these things. It helps a lot in actually spreading the actual message that we're having here, and it helps a lot in the actual in the dissemination of the information that we're actually doing. We're working on some really, really amazing programs for you, inshallah ta'ala. Obviously, our fall semester in September, inshallah, we're working also some of the classes. Our aim is to come back live to the actual classes. Obviously, everything is pending COVID-19 restrictions, but looking at how things are looking right now, we are really hopeful that we might be coming back, inshallah, this September, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, at the Islamic School of Toronto to do our lessons, really, and our classes, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Jazakumullah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who has granted us the ability to gather in this gathering here, allow us to gather in a much better place, in a beautiful place. Innahu waliyyu dhalika wal qadiru alayh. And this will be the last thing I say to you, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.